Platform enforcement secured, protecting the Soulaan mark in commerce. The Freedmen Reparations Fund Trust, acting as the authorized enforcement agent for the Soulaan mark, has successfully secured enforcement action on Amazon following a formal trademark infringement complaint. Multiple listings using the Soulaan name without authorization have been altered or removed after review. This outcome marks a significant step in the ongoing protection of the Soulaan mark and reinforces a core principle. A mark actively used in commerce must be protected to maintain its integrity, value, and clarity in the marketplace. Establishing use in commerce. The Soulaan mark is not theoretical or inactive. It is actively used in U.S. commerce across branded merchandise and digital offerings. Through verified commercial activity, product presence, and customer engagement, the mark has established a clear identity tied to its rightful ownership. This enforcement action required demonstrating active use of the mark in commerce, public-facing product offerings, ongoing customer activity, clear instances of unauthorized use by third parties. By meeting these standards, the trust ensured that the complaint was not only submitted, but acted upon, addressing unauthorized marketplace activity. Unauthorized sellers were using the Soulaan name in product titles and listings, creating a false impression of affiliation. This type of use introduces confusion for consumers and undermines the integrity of the brand. Amazon's response confirms that unauthorized use of a mark in product listings is actionable. Platforms will intervene when proper evidence is provided. Enforcement requires both legal structure and commercial proof. This was not a passive review. It was a direct response to a properly structured and substantiated complaint. A shift from rejection to enforcement. Initial submissions were met with resistance due to the mark being in active application status rather than fully registered. However, enforcement does not stop at registration. When a mark is actively used in commerce, it carries enforceable rights. By strengthening the submission with verified use in commerce, supporting product links, clear identification of infringing listings, the trust moved the complaint from rejection to enforcement. What this means moving forward. This action establishes a clear position. The Soulaan mark is actively protected. Unauthorized use will be identified and addressed. Marketplace platforms will be engaged where necessary. Sellers currently using the Soulaan name without authorization should understand that continued use may result in further enforcement actions. Path to compliance. There is a structured path forward for those seeking to operate within compliance. The trust supports legitimate use through proper authorization and licensing agreements. Use of the Soulaan mark without permission is not permitted. However, parties seeking alignment may request authorization through the appropriate channels. Ongoing monitoring and enforcement. This action is not an endpoint. It is part of a broader enforcement framework designed to protect the mark across platforms, prevent misuse, and maintain consistency in how the Soulaan identity is represented in commerce. The Freedmen Reparations Fund Trust will continue, monitoring marketplace activity, submitting enforcement actions where necessary, expanding protection across additional platforms. Conclusion. This enforcement action confirms that structured, evidence-based trademark protection works. It reinforces that active use in commerce carries weight, and that platforms will act when presented with a clear, compliant claim. The Soulaan mark will remain protected through continued oversight, enforcement, and institutional governance. Freedmen Reparations Fund Trust Authorized Enforcement Agent for Soulaan, American Freedmen Legal Fund.